Welcome to The Funnel. My name is John Shane. I'm president of Alignment Group. This is episode number 246 of The Funnel. Sales managers, the shield between sales reps and executives. Before we begin, I want to remind you to head on over to alignment-group.com/The Funnel, subscribe, and we will send you the show notes weekly. We also include a free coaching call to first-time subscribers. So just click the link on the thank you page after you subscribe and book a time on my calendar. Today's agenda: danger zone, setting the stage, communication, and the sales rep. So let's talk about the danger zone. No, I'm not going to sing the song from Top Gun. But you are entering into that danger zone as a sales manager when there's that you are the buffer between executive and the rep. And sometimes that buffer zone can get a little out of whack. So your objective in many ways is to shield your reps from the unwanted pressure without killing your relationship. And say, well, how do I kill the relationship? If your sales reps begin to have lengthy conversations and input from executive management, vice versa, they go around you, you're killing your relationship with your team. There is the threat of micromanagement from executives who start getting involved in every little deal and every opportunity. And there's always the danger of you as a manager becoming too transparent and providing all the information from above without any thought about what that looks like. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So let's set the stage for you. It's very simple, as far as I'm concerned, is that you have a job to do as a manager. You have a job to do to be a very good manager. There's some managers that kind of fall into this, and they know how to manage their manager and their reps, and they know how to navigate these treacherous waters. And then there are others that just aren't good at it. And I think you should take your cue from the people that are good at it. Don't push your reps into the distraction, into the emotion that's coming from senior executives, or the threats or the pushes or whatever you want to call it. Take your cue from folks that manage it well, and there's some suggestions that might help you. Okay? So the only way you can manage this effectively is if you do your job well as a manager. In other words, your boss or owner respects you. Now, let's say you have one that's a little off the charts in terms of their personality and micromanagement and, kind of the Devil Wears Prada, Meryl Streep character. Then you should probably move on. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about normal, if there is such thing, normal business folks, executives or owners that once they have your respect or they respect you, they're going to allow you to do the things that you need to do. So you earn that as a manager. So if you're a new manager and you're getting micromanaged, well, that's probably to be expected. Okay? But once you earn that, then you need to set the expectations with your manager. And it's not the last week of the month or the last week of the year. You do that ahead of time. And if there are any changes to your team or any bad news, you got to get that in front of that. You own the numbers, provided they are what they are, and you take accountability for that. So think about that. You have to earn the respect of the executive level members who are involved or could be involved, potentially involved with your team. You need to build confidence in yourself or confidence in them, in you. You need to set realistic expectations for them in a timely manner. And I think that's ongoing because if something bad happens, you want to get out in front of that. Maybe you lose 2 team members or you have to fire somebody that you didn't expect to fire and you weren't prepared for it. Things happen. And you have to be accountable to the outcomes that they expect. You've accepted the position. You've accepted the numbers. If you go through the process of deciding what the numbers are going to be for the year and you come to some agreement, now you own that. And your team owns it because you've delivered your expectations to them and the forecast to them. Communication. Again, taking your cue from really good managers. Strong communication rules the day here. There's a delicate balance, right? You're getting pounded on from senior executives. You're not just filtering that through. What I'm talking about is communications up and down. One, communicate with your team. If you're having pipeline and forecasting meetings and you're having coaching sessions and sales meetings, you pretty much know what's going on in your territory, in your area of responsibility. So if a senior executive has a question or your boss has a question, they don't have to call 5 reps. They don't have to check with 5 reps. They can look in the CRM and see, and you can show them the accurate. What drives me crazy is when managers say, well, the senior executive won't use the CRM for forecasting. They call me all the time. Why are they calling you? One of multiple reasons. One reason is they don't trust what's in the CRM. Do you? So if you have accurate forecasting here, they're only going to go to one source because it makes their life easier. So you know what's going on in every account. The facts are the facts here. Here's the pipeline, and the for example, I'm using the HubSpot CRM. There's the deal stages. Here's where we are. Look at the deal, look at the notes. Everything's right there. This is what the business looks like for the next X number of months, weeks, however you forecast. Involve them in some of your discussions and meetings, senior executives. Maybe it's a large deal. Bring them in. Let them see what happens. Ask them to do the occasional sales call so they can see what it's like. Why not? Have a solid sales process in place so they know each steps of the process and what's going to happen next so they can look at it. And then whatever you do, don't forward every little message you get from. I used to have a manager that did that. Don't do that. Don't forward every little message. Senior executives are prone to emotional outbursts occasionally, numbers, because they're feeling the pressure. Don't lay that pressure on your team. Don't ask them to do your job. Your job is to handle that pressure. And I think I mentioned this before in a quote from Bradley Cooper from War Dogs. When he says, I think you're confused between we have a problem and you have a problem. That's what I'm talking about. What he's saying is your problem's not mine. Don't make it mine. Don't make it your rep's problem if there's some downward pressure. Bring them in so they feel like they're part of something and they understand. And like I said previous to this, accurate forecasting, answers to questions because you have your thumb on the pulse of what's going on with your team. Now let's talk about the sales rep and how they fit into all of this. Okay, and I'm going to give you kind of two sides of the coin, the manager's point of view and the sales rep's point of view. From a sales rep's point of view, you want your sales reps to avoid senior management, hit their numbers. It's probably the easiest thing they can do. They're untouchable. Senior executives don't bother with that. They're looking for somebody who's underperforming. So from a rep's point of view, pay attention to that. From a manager's point of view, it's simple. You do to your manager, and you expect your sales reps to do this. Share bad news up front, good or bad news. Open up. Open up to me and tell me, let's encourage two-way communication. I want to know from you if things are going bad, if there's a problem, or the good stuff. I want to know both. I want to share that, the good stuff up the food chain. And if there's something I need to share with my boss so they're aware of it, then I need to do that. Trust me, and I'll protect and I'll shield you. If it's necessary, I will shield you. But I need to know. It's not fair to me to have a surprise like that as your manager, and it's not fair to my manager for me to surprise them. And it's certainly not going to be fair to you if you do that, because it could get ugly. Sometimes it's out of my control as your manager. So what I'm saying to the rep is, let's communicate, good, bad, or indifferent. I want to know. And I know how to deal with my boss, so I know how to explain that to him or her. Understand from the rep's point of view, understand the plan for becoming successful, and you can effectively communicate that to your manager, and your manager can communicate to your boss. Don't let panic rule the day. That's both sides. Happened all the time, especially with me, up the food chain. Oh, my Lord. Panic, panic, panic. We're going to have, this is the worst month ever. This is the worst quarter ever. You get these emails, you're like, what are you talking about? I'm looking at the pipeline, and I'm pretty confident we're going to go over the numbers. Or if we weren't, heck, he was already aware of that weeks ago because I would have told him. And one of the things you can do, managers, is get rid of people who aren't performing or fix the problem with them. Okay, if you protect underperformers on an ongoing basis to your manager, that's the quickest way to lose your relationship and the trust that you've built up. I don't care how much you like the person. If they're not performing, they need to get off the bus. And guess what? Other team members know it too. And we've talked about that past podcasts. And if you're underperforming as a rep, get out in front of it. Talk to your manager. Hey, I just want to let you know I'm having this problem, et cetera, as a rep. And the manager can go to their boss and say, listen, I've got this rep. He's just communicating with you. This is what's going on with he or she. They're underperforming at this level, blah, 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 blah. This is the plan, and this is the time frame. And if they don't meet the expectations by the end of this time frame, we're going to move on. Here's the, we did what we called back in the day, and I still show people how to do some of this stuff, work improvement plans to get them back up to where they need to be. So if it's a skills issue or something else that can be fixed, you work on it. If it's not and you need to move on, then you move on. Okay? So my point here is simple. When it comes to dealing with the rep and the rep dealing with you, open communication is critical. Shielding them from the emotions of executives or the whims. Presenting the messaging the way you feel it should work on your team. This is how I'm going to message it out. This is what I'm going to do. Obviously, from a rep point of view, you hit the number. Don't panic. If you're underperforming, get ahead of it with your manager, and manager, have a plan. You should have a plan for someone who's underperforming, and then make decisions, because it's your job as a manager to make those decisions, not to avoid them. And have a plan for what goes beyond firing somebody. Have I begun preparation to replace them? And I could say to my boss, listen, I have 5 candidates in the pipeline. I'm sure one of them will make it all the way through and we'll have somebody to hire at that point. If, Stanley doesn't improve, I'm going to let him go. And that's it. So hopefully this helps you with shielding. It is, and I'm going to tell you as a final note, I want to say this as a final note. It is not easy. It is a constant push-pull. Every day you're making decisions. You have to pass on the corporate message and the numbers and all of that good stuff. It's the stuff in between that you have to make decisions on. Do I really want to chase this guy down because he came in without his tie on and the owner of the company went nuts? Do I want to go through that? Because I found out, his kid had the flu. He was up all night because she was throwing up. And he's here on time and his tie's not on. So what do I do with that? I mean, I know I'm saying it's something stupid, but you run into that garbage every day. So what do you do with it? I made decisions every day on that. Barking at me because somebody wasn't wearing a tie. Now, if he didn't say, I need you to speak to him, I was like, okay, I understand. I'll look into it. And then I'd come back and I'd say, listen, no excuses here. You should come in with your tie on. But his daughter was up all night with the flu. He's throwing up. She's throwing up till 3 a.m. He didn't get to bed till 5. He woke up at 6. Just a little groggy. But here's what I appreciate about him. He was on time. So if it becomes an issue, I'll talk to him. Boom. There's my decision. Okay, and I'm giving you an easy one. But that stuff happens all the time. And he's never even, it never occurred to him, the rep, that I'd have even had that conversation. And that's how it should be. So you're going to make those little mini decisions every day as a manager, and you need to work very hard on doing it the right way. Don't make your problem their problem. Handle your stuff. Shield them, support them, encourage them, and take no prisoners when it comes to underperforming. And you will do well. If you have any questions on that, send them along to me. Like I said, I was the king of that for a number of years. Thank you for subscribing to The Funnel, alignment-group.com/The Funnel. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Contact me, jshay at alignment-group.com. Website, alignment-group.com. Great stuff on the website. Check out our blog. 2 blogs a week are posted. And if you subscribe to either the blog or the podcast, you get the weekly show notes for the podcast, and you get both blogs. So we give you the 4 things that we've published for the week. Obviously, if you come over to the website, we have some really cool stuff you can download. Check it out. Feedback is always appreciated. If you want more stuff or different stuff, let me know. I'll see what I can do. As always, thank you for subscribing, and keep filling the funnel.